Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope you guys are doing good. This is me, Abu Bakr Dilawar. Welcome you all to our latest episode of Founders Kahani. So as you all know, in Founders Kahani, we always invite amazing founders from all around the world so that they can help you to build your Kahani in a better way. So today we have a very, very amazing guest with us. I am personally very excited for this podcast as well, and I am actually looking forward to learn a lot from this conversation today. So this podcast is about a very special topic that is, I think, the buzzword, or more than a buzzword, it's the need of every person, every business, I guess, which is like automation, how to automate your task because AI is here and I think all the labor work is going to be done by the AI now. As a founder or as a person, we can basically invest more on creative thinking, inventing new things, making different strategies, and then left all the labor work to AI with automation. So we have a very amazing founder with us who is very expert in this automation field. He all the way from Toronto. Please welcome Hamza. How are you, Hamza?
Hey, Abu Bakr, thank you so much for the introduction. It's a pleasure to be here, everyone. Very nice to jump into the community and share my story. And hopefully I can, teach you guys a bit about AI and automation because I've been in this space since kind of the very beginning when ChatGPT first launched. I knew that this was going to be the future, so I positioned myself very well, and I'm very excited to share the findings I've had along the way.
That's amazing. So Hamza, this is Founders Kahani. Though my first question will be from you, like, what is your Kahani?
Yeah, I mean, so it's been a long journey. And there's been a lot of stuff that I've obviously gone through and stuff. So I came to Canada as an immigrant, international student. I came with the intention of studying finance, building my life here, moving away from Pakistan in the Middle East. So I came here. I wanted to study finance, go into banking, just have a stable life and career. But what I found out was I did the internships. I did what everybody thought, is the right thing to do. But it wasn't for me at all. I didn't enjoy working in banking or consulting or the long hours and all of that. Like the money is fine, but you realize soon that, lifestyle and freedom matters a lot. So for me, entrepreneurship was always something I wanted to go after. Even starting out as a child, just selling candies at school, anything to just have a hustle, make money, build something for myself was always exciting for me. So I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And the way to do that is you need to understand sales. So I knew that if I wanted to be a business owner, I needed to learn how to sell. So naturally, I moved away from finance and I started working at tech startups selling software. So I did that for about 2 to 3 years, learning everything I could about sales. I worked my way up from a sales rep to an account executive to a sales director eventually. Very quickly moving my way up. And then once I had those skills, it made sense for me to then transition into my own thing. So then AI, we just came out with ChatGPT. Everybody was blown away by it, but I saw that this had actual business applications where it could be used to create chatbots and automate tasks and help them, replace marketers and email copywriters. So I was one of the first people to jump on that trend. And then just riding that momentum, it's taken me to here. I've established myself as an authority in the automation space. I've been, turning myself into almost a social media influencer as well. We just passed around 200,000 followers across all platforms. So I'm just positioning myself well to just ride this AI wave because this is the future. That's going to change everything that we've ever known. And I'm just excited to be a part of that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So I've been talking about your journey, like how you have done your automation and you are doing such an amazing work in this field. So in your profile, I have seen like you are also basically running and cohort of automators, right? So basically, how did that happen, and how you grew it into 3,000 of cohort members, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I didn't intend to ever create like an education company or start coaching at all. What I did is I ran my agency, I grew my agency, but then we got to a point where I couldn't grow anymore. So I had the idea of creating content because I was seeing other people creating content, they were getting millions of views. So I started creating content just because I wanted more clients. So I made videos about here's an automation that I built that solved this problem and this problem, and look what I did for my clients. So I was just sharing stuff that I was doing. But what happened was like the videos did very well overnight. I didn't expect that at all. So like overnight, hundreds of thousands of views because nobody had seen this kind of stuff before. People weren't making content about AI back then. So the videos did very well, but the people that messaged me weren't businesses. Like not a lot of businesses were saying I need this as well, but it was regular people like yourself and me who were like, "Oh, this is so interesting. I could sell this to somebody else. Can you teach me how to do this?" And initially I was like, "No, I don't teach. That's not what I do. I run an agency." So I was just ignoring it. But the demand for it was just so great. People were asking me every single day, hundreds of DMs a week. So eventually I was like, okay, let me just make some tutorials so everybody can leave me alone. So I made tutorials on YouTube of this is how I build this chatbot. This is the software I use. This is how it works. And then I would just create everything for free. And I would just create like a YouTube channel and people would watch that. But then they would start having questions and, they wanted more feedback and more access to me. So then I found a platform called School. So School is basically where you can host educational videos and you create a community and a course and all of that. So I decided to create a school community, again, completely for free because my business model was never to make money off education or coaching or anything like that. So it's still free to this day. So people sign up, they can see all of the course videos in order, they can post in the community. And basically I've created this community where everyone can start in the automation space. And now we've grown that about 2 years later to 40,000 students, which we have in there. So it's one of the biggest automation communities. And again, it's still free because that's not how I make my money charging people for education. They come in, they can learn from everything that I do. And I enjoy it a lot because I get messages every day of people saying, "Oh, you've changed my life. I can pay my way through college or I can start a business now. I never knew this was possible." So that for me is very rewarding compared to just making money off, helping a business fire some employees. Like it's very different there.
That's an amazing story. So, how do you basically also, like you told us that for a business founder, the sales is a very important thing. So now I have a very personal question to ask from you, as I am also basically mastering myself into the sales as well. So, do you basically do automation in the sales process, and what's the best way indeed to do automation in the sales, especially in the software industry platform?
Yeah. So do you mean automations in my own personal sales
Yeah.
process for my clients, or how do I help them with their sales?
How do you help yourself?
Yeah, so automation and AI has made it very easy for you to be like a very solid sales machine. Like your organization should be pretty much automated from a sales function. So when a lead enters your ecosystem, so when they DM you on Instagram or they submit a Facebook ad form or they submit a form on your website, however they enter your ecosystem, AI should automatically be reaching out and nurturing them. So if anybody sends me a DM on Instagram or comments on one of my videos, an AI agent automatically auto DMs or responds to them and is trained on my business, understands, okay, what are you looking for? Are you a qualified buyer or not? So it does the qualification there and it'll book appointments automatically or it'll send them links depending on where they are. And that's not something like a human being could ever compete with. Like the speed that you need to follow up with your leads is very important. So speed to lead is everything, and AI allows you to do that. After that, then you have your whole CRM. Your CRM should be automated from start to finish. So all the different stages that a lead goes through, the funnel, the pipeline, sending proposals, contracts, estimates, quotes, all of that is created and done by AI on the back end. The follow-ups, nurture sequences. Say you did a meeting with a prospect or a lead and they start ghosting you. Most people would just forget about that lead and move on. We put them into a funnel where now they're getting email nurture sequences, they're getting follow-up SMSs weeks, months, even years down the line. So they're never forgetting about us until they give us a no. The AI is still nurturing that lead. So that's what systems like these allow you to create. And it stops you from losing a lot of money, but then also generates you a lot of money just from the speed that you can get. And because we have these systems, it's very hard for other people to compete with us because we're just on top of it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, like I have seen your content and I have been going through your community. So you've been basically seeing a lot about the legacy thinking, right? So what do you think, like, what do you mean with that and how it helped you to basically drive you as a founder?
Yeah, so I mean, I think every founder or business owner needs to have a strong purpose or a why. Like, I think a lot of people just want money. Like, I think they think that that's enough to fuel them, but money as a goal, like when things get tough or if the business isn't working or you lose motivation and money is your only driver, you're going to very easily fizzle out. You're not going to feel motivated and the business might die. So you need a stronger purpose, whether that's freedom for you, your family, your children. For me, it's more so legacy as well. So I come from a very strong lineage where a lot of my, grandfather, great grandfather, predecessors, they're all very successful people. They've made a massive impact in this world. And for me to not do anything with the last name that been given or to bring honor to what they've done just feels wrong to me. Like there's a true sense of duty inside of myself that I should make a mark on this world. People should know who Hamza Baig is and the impact that he's making. And I think so far I've done a pretty good job of that, but I think there's a lot more that can still be done. So that's my why. My why is all about legacy, long-term thinking. That's why I invest a lot into my personal brand as well. So you don't just see my business or my company, but it's Hamza Automates, and Hamza's the entire entity around it. Everything that I do is very intentional because people connect to personal brands. They see me as a person. They can look at my face. They can look in my eyes. When they meet me in person, they can shake my hand. That's very different to you hiding behind a company that is just a logo and it's not real to people. So I invest a lot into my personal brand because I think my legacy is very important, and that carries me throughout this whole business. Because there have been tough times, part times where
Yeah.
I've wanted to give up, things aren't working. People see all the success now because this is 2.5 years in the making. But the first year was like no sales, no traction. Nobody wanted to hear about AI. It's very easy now. Everybody wants to talk about it, but before nobody believed in it. No one thought that the technology was good enough, and that's when I was really selling it. So that's my why and what's pushed me to get here. And people need to find their own whys. They can't ask me for it. They can't ask you for it. They have to dig deep in themselves and say, do I really want this? And why do I want this? And then, just be introspective about that.
Exactly, that's very true. Like your why is the most important thing, right? So, I've been personally been through two government funded incubations, and also like I observed textile incubation very closely. Like most of the incubations that are like good incubation, the first question they ask you about you and your business is
Mhm.
your why, and they help you to define your why. I guess for not just for founders, for basically a normal guy, the vibe is very important, right? And that
Yeah.
lacks in most of the youth in Pakistan.
Yeah, exactly. Not even for a business, but like, why do you wake up in the morning? What drives
Yeah.
you to go to work? Like, why are you doing these things? So ask yourself those questions. What is the bigger purpose here? Because people live like robots on autopilot. They're not thinking, why am I doing these things? But people should sit down, meditate, pray, ask yourself questions, and you'll get answers.
Yeah, exactly. So you have told us earlier that your degree is in finance, right? So how basically, like I have seen, specifically in the tech domain, especially with Gen Z now, most of the people say like you don't need a degree to be work in the tech space, and your degree is also in finance, and you are working in tech space. So how that specific degree helps you with your business and helps you with basically, automating things.
Yeah, so I think the world now is very different to the world when I was deciding, to get my degree. But back then it was a no-brainer. There was no option to not get a degree. Nowadays it's a big question, are degrees useful or do we need them at all? But back then, like I had to get a degree like just for my parents and like just for myself. Like you want to, if anything, not even for the education itself, but it's also like a status thing where it's like, okay, employers will see you as somebody who's educated, the market and society. So I think degrees are important from that standpoint because it puts you in a certain bucket and gives people a perception of you. But in terms of the actual education that you receive, I don't think that that's important unless you're going into a specialized field like medicine or engineering or anything like that. But for finance, like people who want to be investment bankers or go into consulting, then a finance degree is great. I never wanted to, so for me, the skills that I got from it were interpersonal skills, how to present, how to be confident, how to work in groups, how to problem solve, doing case competition. So all these soft skills, intangible things were things that I wanted because I knew that as a business owner and entrepreneur, I needed those skills. So I'm very happy that I got those because if I didn't have them, I would be a different person now. I wouldn't be able to present like this. I wouldn't be able to lead people. I wouldn't be able to do presentations and seminars. So I'm very happy that I got those skills. Not to say that they can only be gotten from college. I mean, you can do presentations, you can do private tutoring and courses and activities and groups and things like that. But I'm very happy that I got that degree. I didn't choose it because I was passionate about finance. I actually didn't know what I was passionate about at all. Like I was very lost. I didn't know. I had no interest in anything that was like mainstream subjects. So I knew I wanted to make money and I wanted to go into business. So finance was a safe, logical route. And now looking back, I'm glad that I went into it, and I would recommend people who want to be entrepreneurs to pursue a business degree. I think there are a lot of benefits, but don't get it because you think that the knowledge you're going to acquire is going to help you in business. It's more so the soft skills you don't realize you're picking up.
Yeah, exactly. So how you have decided that you wanted to go to the automation business when you basically integrated your first OpenAI product?
Yeah, I mean, like, so I don't have a tech background, right? So I didn't study computer science, coding, nothing like that. So I have a finance background, but I'm very analytical. We worked with numbers and stuff, so I have that base foundation. But when ChatGPT came out, like, it was all in English. Like, you're prompting in English. There was no code required to understand the AI, and I thought that was very interesting because if somebody normal like me can achieve these outputs and basically use AI without coding, then anyone else can do this as well. And I thought that was very interesting, and if to me it marked as like a shift in the world because now tech has become so accessible to regular people. I was like, this is going to be massive, so let me learn everything I can about prompt engineering, how ChatGPT works, how the LLM models work behind the scenes. So I taught myself a lot of this stuff on YouTube and just, trial and error, because there weren't actually a lot of YouTube tutorials when I started. I was the first one making these tutorials, figuring things out from trial and error, breaking things, testing things. I have one of the first tutorials on YouTube about like creating a chatbot integration with Make.com and ChatGPT and stuff. And those are things that I just figured out. People would message me, "Oh, how did you learn this? Who did you watch?" I'm like, I didn't watch anybody. I figured this out myself. So that's the kind of like learning that I enjoy because I don't like watching tutorials. I like building stuff with my own hands, seeing how it works, testing things. And then from there, I just clicked and I was like, this is the future. Anyone can learn this, so I'm gonna teach it as well.
Yeah, so from this question, basically, there are a lot of people who are not from the tech background, but they are very good founders, and they wanted to explore this automation field, and they wanted to automate their business. As you are also from a finance background, and you have learned all things from you. So, what do you think? What should be the first three steps they should take? That the person who is not tech at all to basically start learning the automation and start automating their own business.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a few things that they can do. One is just to remove the limiting beliefs and the myth that they have to believe that they're technical, because first is a mindset shift. You have to be open to understanding, yes, I can actually do this, and accept that, it's not as hard as you think. Most people get stuck in that roadblock. They'll join my community and then they just get overwhelmed, like, oh no, I can't do this, it's too technical. But I'm like, I have to work with them on their mindset. And I have videos on that where it's like, relax, it's not that hard. Look at an example of a student who has no tech background. He was able to build an agency to $10,000 a month, and he's not technical at all. So one is just the limiting beliefs, and then two is understanding the different types of tools. Like there's so much out there. Every day new tools are coming out. So it's like, what are the most important things that I should focus on? And those things never change. Like ChatGPT is still the market leader as it was 3 years ago. So understand how to prompt ChatGPT. What is prompting? What makes a good prompt? People think just writing one sentence is enough, but prompting is very complicated. It's like you go into detail, you set personas and actions and limitations and constraints. So study prompt engineering. And when I say study, I don't mean like go buy a course on it. Just watch a YouTube video on it.
Yeah.
It's not very complicated stuff. You can watch a 10, 15, 20-minute YouTube video and you'll get up to, as much knowledge as you need to proceed. So I think when I say study this, people get overwhelmed. They're like, oh no, it's going to take me forever. I have to get a degree in prompt engineering. It's nothing is that complicated anymore. These tech companies do a very good job of dumbing things down so the masses can use them. So it's very simple. A lot of the automation tools we use are drag and drop builders. So then next you get familiar with how to build the automation. So there's tools like Make.com, N8N, Zapier, and decide which one you like and which one works for you. A lot of them do the exact same thing, but the UI, the UX, and the capabilities are different. So I had tried every single one, like the top three or four, and I found which one I liked the most, which was Make.com. I liked Zapier. It was simple, but it was too expensive. N8N was a bit too complicated for me. Make.com was a perfect one in the middle. My lead developer, he loves N8N because it's more technical. He likes the interface. So everybody is different. So find which tool you like. And then the next part is just start building like test portfolio projects. So think of ideas that, what could I possibly automate? So you sit down, open up a document and be like, okay, in a week, these are the tasks that I do when, something happens. Like the most common thing is like lead conversion. So if you run a business, go through the scenario of a lead comes into my business, whether they call, send a text, WhatsApp, submit a form, you build like a flow chart. This is my current operations. Lead comes in, what happens next? Oh, my sales guy calls him on the phone, but it happens like 24 hours after the lead comes in. So you go through all these steps that happen in your sales process, and then you reverse engineer it. Okay, this can be automated with this. This can be automated with this, and you just break it down one by one, and you start automating it over time. You basically done your whole business. So it's a lot simpler than it sounds, and I think once people start, they'll be like, oh wow, this isn't that crazy. And that's what my course is built around. So my course has this, step by step, all for free, so people can just watch that, and then once they get a taste of it, they start improving their knowledge because they're just like, wow, this is addicting, I'm making so much progress. And then they feel good about themselves. They're like, I don't have a computer science degree and I'm doing this, like I feel great.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, like there are a lot of no code tools as well, and basically there is Cursor, Lovable, all type of tools are there. So, do you believe that basically if a founder that is from non-tech background should have to basically invest in these type of tools to build their own apps?
Yeah, I mean, so like Cursor and Lovable, for example, Cursor would require you to have some coding
Yeah.
knowledge because Cursor asks you to, check its bugs, and it'll ask for your input. Should I go with this code base or that one? And then you have to check its code sometimes. So for Cursor, like I'd recommend somebody being more technical, but like Lovable is a great example of something that's like completely no code.
Yeah.
Lovable was built in a way with the intention that the end user has no idea about anything code related, and it's not going to ask them technical stuff. So I would, yeah, definitely recommend Lovable, and it's very cheap to get started. I mean, $20 a month, I think, on their paid plan, and you can basically build out a fully fledged app without knowing anything technical. It's going to handle everything for you on the back end. If a bug comes up, it knows how to fix it itself. You just say, yeah, please fix it, and then it's going to handle that for you. So I think these tools are great, and it's really making it as accessible as possible for new founders to build something. So definitely recommended those.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And have you seen like ChatGPT's new version that came today? And like
Yeah, just
out of nowhere, they just dropped the bomb. And I was reading one of their employees' posts, like it's more reliable and more efficient. So
yeah,
you,
just before this call, I was playing
yeah,
around with it.
yeah. So you have seen some differences in it.
Yeah, they've added a new, like, almost a lovable alternative. So now inside GPT-5 you can code yourself, and they have their own simulation thing where you can see what you're building and stuff. So it's really cool. I haven't it literally came out today, so I haven't tried too much with it, but the output looks good to me. I like the new interface. So I think there's a lot of potential there. And they're still the market leaders. So I think, I use them over Claude. I use them over all these other guys because I think they're just solid with what they make.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. You have recommended Zapier and Make. How should a non-technical founder decide when to graduate from one of tool to the other, basically?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say like there needs to be a graduation because like one tool is not better than the other. They just serve different purposes. So I think when you're starting out, understand what is the difference between each tool, when should it be used for what situation, what does Zapier have that Make doesn't have, and even N8N, for example. Like N8N has a lot more robust agentic features. It has more flexibility with like coding add-ons and stuff. So basically, just look at a breakdown, which I have in the community, but just look at a breakdown of all the, three, four different tools. When should I use what? What's the purpose of each one? And then just learn, the basics of all three, and then decide to go all in on whichever one is best for you for a specific job. So for me, like I know how to use all three of them. And if I get a job, I know, okay, N8N's the best tool for this job, makes the best tool for this job. People become too focused on one tool, and then they just try and make whatever they get in front of them fit into that tool. We have a philosophy where we are like a Swiss Army knife. We know how to use everything, and then we'll use the best thing for the project. That's why our outcomes are better than everyone else, because people are like, oh, I only know N8N. And then I'm like, no, I'm going to use make.com plus N8N plus retail. And we'll combine all these different tools, and our solution will just be so much better than the person who just knows one thing. So I think, now builders should be very versatile and know exactly what to use when, and have like a jack of all these different tools at their disposal. So yeah, and then just understand when to use what is the skill of it. And you get that through practice and just building projects and recognizing patterns.
Exactly. So, like a lot of business people are trying to basically into the automation business as a service providers, and you are also from a finance background. So, how do you settle, pricing and retainer prices or project prices in terms of service-based business?
Yeah, so that's probably one of the hardest things to narrow down because there's no standard for the right or wrong way to ever do pricing, right? There's so many factors that go into it, like which tools they're using, what are the API costs behind it. So you have like hard labor costs that go into the build, but then actual like hours, how many hours is it going into actually building the project? Then on top of that, it's like urgency. How badly do they need the solution? Is it something that, they need fixed tomorrow, or is it something they don't really care about? Maybe you fix it, you don't, it's fine. And then geographical location. So I can't charge the same, company that's based in America the same price as I would charge them if they were in Philippines. So I need to understand the geographic location, their budget, the economy, and then margins of the industry. Like I can't charge a restaurant the same thing I would charge like a pest control or a dental clinic because the margins of the business are different. So we look at all of these different factors and we have an algorithm on our side where we feed in who are we talking to, what are the scopes of the deal, and we'll come up with our pricing accordingly. But it's hard for me to give a one-shot answer, build an AI agent and sell it for $500 a month, because that's not a right answer. There's no fixed
Yeah.
pricing I can give to anybody. We've come up with our own pricing based on our experience. We've done so many different projects. We can feed that data into an algorithm and say, tell me what my pricing is for this project. And we do that very accurately now. The flip side of that is you don't do pricing based on like the inputs, but you do pricing based on the output. So you do the math on, okay, they're getting 500 leads coming a week. They're missing 75% of these calls. The average deal size is $500. You do the math and you work out that they're losing $15,000 a week. Based on that, per month, they're losing $45,000. Then you can reverse engineer that and say, okay, I'm going to charge them, a fraction of that, $10,000 in exchange of saving $60,000. So that's ROI-based pricing, value-based pricing. You look at the impact that it's leading to them and then justify it backwards and say, I'm going to get you this much and it's only going to cost you this much. It should be a no-brainer for them at that point. So there's two different ways to do it. We do both depending on the situation and the scenario. It's always good to talk in numbers of ROI and break it down for them. And then they understand that. If they're a good business owner, it's just good business sense. I'm losing $60,000. He's charging me $10,000 one time, and then for the rest of my life, all of this monthly savings are going to come back. So that's how we do it, and I think people should start thinking of it that way rather than just pulling out random numbers. They're like, "Oh, I want $500 for this chatbot," and there's no logic that goes behind it. So I have a video on YouTube that goes into this concept in great detail about all the factors we go into and how to do the pricing this way. Yeah.
That's amazing. So now, Hamza, I have a very personal question to ask from you. Because after listening to you, I'm gonna make my first automation within this week, and I'm sure a lot of people from our audience, after listening to this conversation, going to run to make their first automation. So how do you basically decide, within the 7 day period, that this automation worked or this automation fulfilled the demand? Because I believe myself when I'm gonna make an automation, I will treat it as my kid, and any critic that will come to that automation, I'll take it personally. So, how do you basically define that this automation really worked and has a good market fit?
Yeah, so one thing that people don't do is that they don't set goal marks or like, parameters for success. Like when we build something or when we're talking to a prospect and we build them a proposal, in that proposal it's going to say these are the outcomes of the automation. This is what's supposed to happen. Whether that's missed calls being saved or leads being spoken to. So we set what the goalposts are before we even build anything so that we can judge it after it's been developed. And I think people don't do that. They don't say, what will determine that this is a success or not. So I think that's up to the builder to decide. So I'm about to build this. What is my intended outcome before I do anything? What do I want to happen? And if it happens, okay, it's a success. If it doesn't happen, what needs to be fixed? So I think as long as you set your goals of what it should be doing, then you and the client are happy. And set the expectations with the client as well. Tell them in the first week, we're expecting X amount. In the first month, this should be happening. And if you set their expectations, they're going to be like, okay, he said this was going to happen or it's going according to plan. For some automations, I say, we're not going to see the results of this until 3 months later. So, don't freak out, but it's a long-term play that we're generating together. I need to gather the data. I need to keep improving and optimizing it. And by month 3, you're going to see, X amount of return or X amount of results. So you are in the driver's seat. You control the expectations and the goalposts and the results. But if you just leave it up in the air, then you're just, bound to get disappointed yourself, and you're bound to get disappointed for the
Yeah.
client as well.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Hamza, I have an other personal question to ask from you. And like I want so much out of this conversation. I wanted to learn myself. So I'm basically ignoring my audience here and only asking questions for myself. So you are basically also running a cohort management program. And like in Founders Kahani, we have low-key version of cohort management and community as well. So how you drive automation in that specifically? Because it involves a lot of daily engagement, daily pushes, daily sending messages to the people, following up with the people, and keeping people engaged within the community basically. So how you do that, and how you basically convert your members to paid tiers basically?
Yeah, so I mean, for me, like a lot of it is given behind the free value that I give out. Like people see that, oh, I'm just giving away so much for free, or there's his valuable content is so free that it subconsciously programs them to think, if his free content is this good, imagine what he has behind the paywall, or imagine how good that could be, right? So naturally, they're always thinking about, okay, I need to take the next level because there's going to be so much value there. So I subconsciously do that, and I think a lot of people do resonate with that. But then on top of that, we do have a lot of automation systems on the back end, constantly promoting what's happening in the paid communities and doing like the upsells and things like that. So like live calls are completely automated. So every week people can automatically sign up for the live calls to get introduced to me. We offer onboarding calls for every single member that joins to the free community as well. So we offer that as a roadmap. We see, who are you? What situation are you in? What is the best program for you? So automatically they can be introduced to what we have to offer there. And then we do a weekly check-in form as well. So automatically I have a sequence running on the back end, weekly check-in. How's your experience going? What can we help you with? What could be better? So we're getting that feedback from them already. And then before the issue gets too bad, we jump in and say, hey, I read your weekly check-in. I saw you're struggling with X, Y, and Z. Here's how we can combat it. People don't talk to their audience. They don't do pulse checks or check-ins, and then things bottle up, and then they cancel, like a week or a month later, and then they're like, oh, why didn't you tell me what happened? But you have the host has to take the initiative to really facilitate as much support for community members as possible, because people are busy, they have lives. We have to make it as frictionless and as easy as possible for them to be in touch with us, to feel like they're included, and also give them that one-on-one touch point as well. Like people are surprised that they can message me directly and I'm responding to their comments personally. They think that it's a bot or like an agent of mine, but it's really me, and people value that. I'm different to other creators who distance themselves from their audience, but I'll talk to a free member the same way that I'll talk to a paid member, so everybody's equal to me, and I think people do respect that. So all these little things add up to just building good brand will and trust, and then from there, people are happy to pay for my time to get more access to me afterwards.
That's really great. That's really great. So like Hamza, my next question will be from you on the behalf of most of the service providers, because I have seen a lot of people are jumping into the automation services, especially in Pakistan. They are providing really good services and all that. So there is a very good concept in the field of tech services, basically, which is like build one and sell many, right? So how do you manage to basically develop those type of automations that you can sell to other five clients basically?
Yeah, so I mean, those are a lot harder than you'll realize, because everyone is selling the generic ones. It's very easy to
Yeah.
do a missed call text back or reputation management. So like everybody just creates and commoditizes those, and then all you can compete on is price. Because if everybody's offering the same thing, then you just have to keep getting cheaper and cheaper. So for us, it's about, doing it, making it feel as bespoke and as custom as possible, but the foundations are still templatized and copy pasted. So like, for example, like our Instagram agent, we don't advertise that as like an Instagram agent, which, you will answer all your DMs because everybody else does that. But like for a specific niche, we'll tailor it to like dental clinics, for example, and we'll call it like the dental clinic social media, automation that, answers their DMs and stuff. So we'll put specific branding on it. We'll make it feel proprietary, and we'll give them the feel like it was made just for them, even though it was something that was templatized and basically what everybody else is doing. So branding and marketing and packaging is something that a lot of people overlook. They think the tech and the tool is enough to basically sell itself. It's not, because it's not hard to build this stuff anymore. That's the downside. Everybody is doing it. Everybody's building and selling the same thing. You need to differentiate yourself with brand. So for me, the other benefit is personal brand. People will come and buy from Hamza. Even if Hamza is selling missed call text back like everybody else is, Hamza is different because he's got his brand behind it. I trust him, and I know that his solution will be good. So if you invest in your personal brand as well as your branding and packaging, then it's a great combination there. So it's harder now to do this, copy paste templatized model. But if you package and brand it correctly and you can pair that with a personal brand, then you can do it. But don't expect that you can build something and you're going to sell it to everybody for, to do that so easily, because it's not easy anymore. The easier it is for someone to build something, the more competition you have now.
Yeah.
So and I think people also ask that and think about that because it's also a lazy thing to do. Like, oh, I just want to build it once, then it's going to sell itself for eternity. No, it's going to take a lot of work. You got to customize it and put effort behind it. Unless you truly find a very niche problem that only you can solve, and you've discovered a gap in the market that nobody else has found, which is rare these days because everyone is finding every
Yeah.
problem. So I think that's wishful thinking, but people do find them. So to keep looking, I'd say.
Yeah, exactly. And what do you think? What are the biggest mistakes people do in launching automation services you have seen so far?
Yeah, one thing, like I have a lot of members in my community, and a lot of them make the exact same mistakes, is they don't actually listen to what I say, and they just follow like a lot of the trends and what they hear around. So like they'll hear, oh, voice AI receptionists are really hot right now, go sell those. And without doing any market research or understanding actual demand, they'll just start building voice AI receptionists without even talking to a single business owner, asking them their pain points. They will build the solution and the product first, and then hope that they find somebody with the problem after. Or they're going to shove the product down someone's throat who doesn't need it. So if you build a voice AI receptionist and you're just going to everybody trying to sell it, you're going to end up pitching it to people who get one call a week. Why would they ever
Yeah.
need a voice AI receptionist? So what you've basically done is you've put yourself into a position where it's a coincidence if you land in front of your potential client or the correct client. So I always do the flip side. I'm like, don't build something first, talk to a business first, ask them what their problems are, find what they actually need built, and then build it. People build first and then sell second. I sell and understand first, and then I just build what they told me they wanted. And of course, they're going to say yes because they told me that they wanted that, right? So if you're just building, if you guys watching this, if you're just building stuff for no reason and then hoping to sell it because somebody on Instagram said that these are very popular right now, then you're going to have a very hard time. But if you flip it and just focus on sales first, call up businesses, talk with them, offer free audits and assessments, understand their pain points, what are they struggling with, get that data, and then build solutions for that, and then come to them with that solution. Doesn't that sound like a more logical approach to doing this than just building random things? So
Yeah,
that's the
of course.
mistake they make, and they waste so much time. But they feel like they're being productive because they're building something tangible and they think they're making progress. You're not getting any closer to a sale. The only progress you can truly make is sales. Start talking to people if your intention is to make money, if you're trying to run an agency.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Thank you so much, Hamza, for coming to Founders Kahani today. I personally learned a lot from this conversation. I still have a lot of questions from you to ask, but we have basically come to the end of this podcast. And like I'm part of Gen Z as well. So Gen Z always finds a cool aspect in every discussion, basically. So we had a very serious discussion where we talked about how to basically do automation and all the serious stuff. Now I have a very interesting and a cool question to ask from you. So if I give you a chance to invite three people on your dinner table, dead or alive, who that will be?
Wow, that's a good question. Um, like I'd probably, like if I wanted to give like a really thoughtful answer, I'd probably take time to think about it. But for me, like One is I'm very big into history. I love, history, philosophy, and all of that. So one person would definitely be, I think, Julius Caesar. He's one of the, strongest military leaders, and what he's been able to accomplish has been great. I would love to just ask him about his philosophy, how he's able to do that. Honestly, my answer might be positioned around those people as well. Like Alexander the Great is also somebody I would love to talk to, Genghis Khan, like those kind of people. I think that would be very interesting terms of like philosophy, I'd love to speak with like Marcus Aurelius. I'm a big fan of his book Meditations. I try and practice stoicism as well. It really helps in business as well. Like if you're trying to make it in business as an owner, then like understand stoicism, control your emotions, don't get affected by pressure. I would definitely recommend that as well. Um, yeah, I'd say some of those guys, and there's probably some others I can't think of, but I'm very big into history. I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned from history as well. A lot of
Yeah.
what I read in their biographies, I apply to my business today, like strategies on competition. I treat business like war because it is like we're always competing, we're fighting for attention, we're fighting for resources. So I think that's a very
That's
interesting
so true.
question.
That's so true. I am also a huge fan of history. I love history, but most of the history that I'm interested is in the Ottoman history and also the Roman history as well. And the examples and the lessons you will get from their stories, they are like life changing for you, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and people overlook that. They think, oh, history's happened, it's not important, but history repeats itself, and like we can
Exactly.
learn from it.
It's really, sometimes it's very fascinating and it's very disturbing to say like how history always repeats itself and how people make same mistakes and how the basically, after a lot of things that have changed, AI has come, we have come so far, we went to the space and all of that. We are close, we are become a global village, but still the dynamics of spending a life or the dynamics of basically doing businesses are still the same, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And like we see the patterns emerge as well, like all these different gold rushes, business models, trends, opportunities, like the industrial revolution, internet revolution, AI revolution, all these things are just repeating themselves.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a very, I think that's the most favorite answer that I ever get of this. Basically, the question, I got the answer of this from a lot of people from all over the world with different diverse answers. But this is the very best answer because I'm also a history guy and I love history.
Amazing. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Hamza, for coming to Founders Kahani today. I personally learned a lot from this conversation. I hope our audience has also enjoyed this conversation and learned a lot from Hamza's journey and Hamza's insight that he gave us about the automation, about automating your businesses. So, guys, keep on basically making progress, keep on developing new things, and please subscribe to our channel, follow us on our socials. And if you have any requests, any founder that you want us to invite, any topic that you want us to cover, our DMs are open. And you can also be part of Founders Kahani community member by just DMing on our socials. So please, guys, stay tuned. Khayal rakhein. Allah.